Hello, hello. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast, you guys. I'm so excited. I have Brenda with me today. I'll let Brenda introduce herself, but real quick, the real reason why I brought her on, well, secretly, I've been wanting to bring her on since I met her last August, almost a year ago. Um, at Powerhouse Women Conference. I It was then that she planted the seed in me that I eventually need a house manager. And since then, it's literally been in the back of my mind. I put it on my vision board like it's a thing. Okay. So Brenda is a hero house manager expert. But what really attracted me to you, Brenda, was when I first got on your profile and I saw the words time hacking. I was like, everybody needs this. So why don't you introduce yourself and then we'll just like dig into the conversation.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. I think
Yeah.
didn't we sit, like, right near each other at Powerhouse?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Uh, So fun, such a good event for everybody
Right?
listening, like, go to that event, it's so good.
Yes.
But yeah, a little bit of my backstory. My name is Brenda Noon Schmidt. On all the socials, I'm kick-ass modern mom, and, we have been an entrepreneur family for a really long time. I actually used to work corporate finance, and my husband was the entrepreneur. We have 3 kiddos. One of them's about to turn 13 next week, the next one's turning 10 next month, and then the youngest is 6.5. And what we've realized over all this time of being entrepreneur family, my husband and I dated for, like, 9 years before we got married, and so we've been together a really long time. So it's been a big, long journey of entrepreneurship. And now, like, me stepping into this role of also having my own business to help families on a different level than he does. And our biggest thing that we want to do is just like be giant children ourselves and go and adventure with our kids and just do cool stuff and just be curious and like go in nature and go travel and visit the people we want to visit and like hang out with family. And so that's our biggest goal in everything we're doing. And so my husband actually helps businesses to automate and delegate in their businesses. He specifically helps agencies, digital marketing agencies. And so this is something that is like our jam is just delegation, automation, time hacking. And it's
Yeah.
really just like, okay, how can we get more of those memorable moments back with the people we love? And like, yes, we love our business and we're passionate about it, but also it doesn't always need us. Like it needs us for the parts that are uniquely ours. But then there's a lot of parts that we can either hire people for. And nowadays, oh my gosh, this is like the coolest thing. We're in like a renaissance era that
Yeah.
like people could run their whole company just off of AI and it's like a team of 5 employees. It really is. And so just seeing the path that we've taken of our businesses and how like a team of 20, you can now have like 3 really good employees and a bunch of AI and do the exact same amount of work way better and way
I love
cheaper.
it.
So it's like and what's cool is that, like, all those other people who like, people are like, "Oh, it's taking away jobs." I mean, this is super tangent, but, like
No,
but
I
it's
love
like
this.
all those other people that would have then been on a team with my husband are now also figuring out what their special thing is and serving people individually with it. And so it's actually not even taking away jobs, it's actually creating more entrepreneurs. And
I
it's
love
like going
it.
back to, like, mom and pop shops instead of these big corporations.
Yes. And that's what we need to do. That's what we need for our society. We need to
Yeah,
get away from those big box stores
yeah,
and we need more of those mom and pop stores. Like
yeah.
we do need to go
Or like mom
backwards
and
in
pop
some ways.
services, right? Where there's like a
Yes.
guy who's
Yes.
like really good at one thing. And so, I mean, even going back further, a little bit more of my backstory is I grew up here. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I grew up
Okay.
here in Arizona. I grew up
Okay.
on the border of Mexico on an Arizona cattle ranch.
Cool.
My ancestors, my family actually settled here in the mid 1800s when it was still Arizona territory. And so my family still lives on the family homestead. Like there was, like pioneer family. So I come from these pioneers where there was specialists in the community, and it was like this
Mm,
idea of the village, like, we still the ghost town property is still part of our land, like, with these old buildings that they build and these adobe buildings, and so there's, like, a blacksmith shop and all these, like, the saddle room and the leatherworking, and so there was people who had one unique talent that they would
man.
contribute towards the team, and then everybody leaned on each other for those unique talents, and so this is now, like, where I take that strength of what we used to know as humans,
Yeah.
and I help people apply it to their household, where it's
Beautiful.
like, okay, as moms, as parents, as family, like, we're not supposed to be in charge of all this stuff.
No.
Bring in people who are really good at other pieces of the puzzle and let them
Yeah.
help you. And
Yeah.
instead of like, I tell people, like the whole village mentality, like there's still some cultures around the world where like multiple generations live in the same household. We actually have friends, actually my husband's business partner, he has a household like that where there's like multiple generations in the same house. And so
Wow.
it's like the grandparents and the great grandmother and the like
Right.
everybody, like everybody's there.
Yeah.
And so there's that exists in some households, but for the ones that don't have that built-in village, you can build your own village of
Yeah.
support
Yeah.
with a role like my favorite is a hero house manager.
Yeah.
We also have a personal chef in our house, which everyone's like,
Awesome.
"What?" Which then I'm like, tell everybody like, "Okay, it's not like Mr. Belvedere in a mansion. Like, it's so much more accessible than everybody thinks."
Yeah.
Yeah, our personal
Cool.
chef Renee comes once a week on Mondays, and she's here for 3 to 4 hours and makes all my dinners for the whole week, and I'm set.
Okay. Okay.
Then now, like, every day after school, in the evenings, the kids and I can go swimming. We can go to the
Yeah.
park, go do other stuff because I don't have to be doing all that prep work.
Yeah, you get to be
So,
a truly present mom. What a
yeah,
beautiful concept.
yeah,
Yes.
and then my personal chef is an empty nester. She used to homeschool her kids, they've grown,
So
she's an
cool.
artist, like, so she gets to make a little bit of side money doing
Yeah.
something that is a creative outlet for her
Yeah.
and helping
Yep.
us, and she's, like, basically our family member. She comes over
I
every
believe
Monday,
that.
and she
Yeah.
teaches my kids how to cook while she's here too, so it's not like they're
Yeah.
not getting the skills.
Right, like a part-time nanny in a way. I love that. You are speaking to my soul because I literally do daily affirmations around having a house manager, having an in-home nanny who's like a family member of ours. Like these delegation job, so to speak, I just envision that being a part of my life at some point in time. And I'm in the Midwest, and there's probably a lot of Midwest listeners. However, I sometimes think like being in the rural parts of the country or specifically the Midwest, people think like, oh, yeah, that's totally doable out in like Tucson or Phoenix or LA or, whatever. But like that is just not a thing here. And I feel like that's such a limited Midwestern mindset. And that really frustrates me because I feel like I'm kind of an outlier in that way. Like, why do you think that's not possible? There's like retired school teachers that I could hire to
Yeah,
like do at home schooling for my kids in the
yep,
future. There's my business coach out in LA has a high school girl that comes once a week and folds all of her laundry because she just hates folding laundry. Like, it is not out of reach. You just need to get out of your head like what this person looks like. Like when you said you have a chef, like it's not this like big fancy, like it's a retired person. You're giving them a sense of purpose. How
yeah,
awesome?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say actually being in a small town is almost a benefit to
Yep.
finding people like this
Yep.
because the process I take people through is basically taking them back to their creative, intuitive side of partnering and collaborating. And so when people are like, "Oh, in a town there's all these people swimming around in your city that you could just pick one and use one." But I say, "Yeah, but that's not the person that you're going to want to hire is just anybody. You want
Right.
a very specific hiring process." And so by
Yeah.
being in a small town, it actually forces you to go through the process that you're supposed to go through, which is being
Mm,
more creative and being more intuitive, finding aligned people who are the right personality fit, and then
okay.
having them do the job that you need them to do instead of finding people that maybe have a bunch of skill sets in that exact job, but they're
Yeah.
not aligned with you personality wise or in because they're in an intimate space in your house.
Yeah.
So you want them to speak your language and like you're raising kids, you don't want them to have an idea of like you should be raising your kids a completely different way, right? Like I think
Right.
sometimes that can be our problem with family members. Family members always have
Hmm.
opinions on how we should be raising our kids. But what's cool is then whenever you hire somebody, it's almost like this like unspoken agreement that you're like, I'm paying you, therefore you don't get to tell me how to raise my kids. But also in that hiring process that you go through, if you do it the right way, you find people who are already aligned anyways.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so
beautiful.
I mean, and I say for like for you have it on your vision board, like it can be sooner than you think. And
I
everybody thinks
agree.
it's like a someday thing. You
Right.
can start so small. Our very first house manager we had for 5 hours a week, and she came like 2 to 3 times. And it was really just to fold and put away all the laundry and do a couple other things. And then we layered on a little bit more, a little bit more. And then we
Over
started
the
having her
years.
like do some prep cooking for us. Exactly. And it was kind of like as our budget allowed for it, then
Hmm.
we do and it's like by hiring her for 5 hours, you buy back some time, so then you can go and do
Yes.
stuff with that and make money. Then you
Yes.
come back to and it's just like the same in your business, right? Where it's like you hire a
Yes.
team member, they kind of pay their own way as you make more money by having them, and then you turn around and hire another person or you add
Hmm.
more hours to their schedule. So it's the
Yep.
same in our households. Like we don't go in business, we don't go from solopreneur to like a team of 10
No.
people overnight. The same in your house. You're not gonna go from not having anybody helping you to all of a sudden having a personal chef and a house manager and a this and a that and a right? Like you're
Right.
gonna have a whole
Right.
team all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you're just gonna have somebody who comes over a couple times a week just to help with the most necessary things that are really draining you. And it's
Hmm.
different for everybody. Like, usually laundry is the most time consuming
Yeah.
and draining. I will say the people who like laundry, I'll really kinda dig and be like, "Do you like it, or have you tricked yourself into liking it because you're such
Yeah.
a positive person and it has to be done because 'cause you're an adult?"
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and it's like, but if you had the choice, you would much rather, like, go kayaking or go to the park with your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so but that's where it's like you can bring in either a college kid or a retired person, like
Yep.
grandparent age or
Yep.
the people who haven't yet gotten married and had their own kids. So it's like
Right.
those are the 2 demographics that make really great help because they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, I get paid to come and do your laundry for you? Like, what a dream come true that is." And for
Right.
you, you're
Right.
like, "Holy cow, that's a dream come true for you? Where have you been my whole
Yeah.
life?"
Yes, totally agree. So can you explain for someone who's, like, totally foreign to this concept, what a house manager is? I know in your, like, a lot of your Instagram posts, you kinda compare it to, like, having a VA for your business, but again, like, if there's any, and I know you also speak primarily to, like, entrepreneur families and also, like, talk about that, but can you just explain what that concept is? A house
Yeah,
manager?
so I call it a hero house manager. You'll see
Yeah.
other people commenting or posting about house managers. I call them hero house managers, and it's HERO. Oh, dang, I'm gonna forget my own
I
acronym.
was like, "You know this."
But it's harmony, it's like the way they make you feel in your house. So it's not just like a clean person that shows up. It's like a certain person, like certain personality type, the way they make you feel empowerment because they're empowering you to go and do big things in your business. Like they understand what your goals are and they're trying to help you achieve them more instead of judging you for not doing the stuff that they're doing. R is for resourcefulness, like where they find solutions that are already in your own house. So they're not costing you more money. They're like saving you money.
Yeah,
And then O is for optimization because it's an ever evolving and changing role that you're constantly going to be like, okay, now we're in summer mode. So it's going to look a little different. Okay, now we're in the holidays or whatever it is. And so they evolve with you and with your family and what your schedules, like all the ebbs and flows of that. And
I
so
love
they just
it.
become that proactive problem solver. And so a house manager, you'll hear other people talking about this, which I'm so excited that more and more people are talking about this on the internet now because
Yes.
it's one of those things that like people have had them for a while, but they just weren't talking about it. And now people are
Yeah.
finally talking about it. I'm like, yes, let's bring this out because I tell people this is like what VAs were 20 years ago. When my husband first started hiring offshore help in his original agency, it was icky and taboo. And people are like, why would you
Mhm.
be doing that? Like, why would you be
Yep.
hiring people from all these other countries? There's people right here in our own country that need these jobs. And anyway, so it was
Yep.
like a thing that you didn't talk about, but people were doing it. Well, the same thing, I feel like house managers is like this secret weapon that some of the biggest names that you see, the biggest content creators you see, they have house managers and they've had them for a really long time. And it's kind
Mhm.
of like their secret weapon to buying back their time that they are not really talking about. And so I'm like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell everybody what the
Yes.
secret is because you can build your team out all you want, but if you're unbalanced, like your business team won't even be able to get the leadership that they deserve from you because you're being drained and like dragged back into all this stuff in your own household. So if
Yeah.
you don't build in both places, then you're going to be wasting money on the team you're building in your business.
I
And
totally
so
agree.
it's really like the role is customizable to everybody's house and that's what's so cool about it. So
Yeah.
if you think of kind of like an stateside EA that's in person in a business where they're like like Richard Branson, his right-hand woman that follows him everywhere on his plane and tells him like, here's your schedule and here's what you're going to eat and here's like who you're going to talk to, right? Like they're like
Yeah.
right there, like your wingman. Well, this is like the same thing for your house where it would be like you're cloning yourself in your own house. And like I
Yeah.
said, maybe it's like somebody who's a lot older than you or a lot younger than you. It's like they're
Mhm.
bridging those generations between you and your kids
Yeah.
and they do all the things that you do that you don't need to be doing, laundry, cooking, running errands. They can do kid pickups and stuff like that. They can be
Mhm.
kind of like a nanny plus. Like I
Right.
like say like a lot of people who already have a nanny, it's like you can ask your nanny if they're interested in being upgraded to a house manager and just
Yeah.
taking on a few more roles and a few more hours.
Yep.
And then it's like nanny plus turns into house manager. A lot of people
Mhm.
who make amazing house managers have nanny experience
Mhm.
and so this is a great way for people to think about it. It was like, okay, there's like already people helping me. Maybe they have those if they already have the personality and they already have skill sets, it's like a great way to kind of bring them on in a bigger role. And then you're
Yeah.
like, congratulations, you're now a house manager. And it's like a promotion
Nice.
for
I
them,
love
and
it.
like it's like more meaningful work. It's not just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just nannying to put myself through college. It's like, oh wait, this
Right.
could actually be my career. Because there are like
Yeah.
professional career level house managers. And so this could be the thing that they are like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to go work in a cubicle at a corporate job just to have burnout 5 years later and have to reinvent
Right.
myself." Like, I could have meaning right from the get-go. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just
Awesome.
like finding like essentially it's like if your mother-in-law lived next door and did all the
Yep.
stuff in your house that
Yep.
and then if you like really got along with her too.
Right. Right. Exactly. You're exactly right. So if
So that's
somebody
what
was
this role
interest
is. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if somebody's interested in one, you seek out these house managers for entrepreneurs? Is that correct? Am
I
I
can, yeah.
understanding?
So
Okay.
for I either can walk people through my process for hiring, which is the
Okay.
exact same process we've used for business. Like
Okay.
when I used to be running HR stuff for my husband's companies, it's like the hiring process, the interview, the background checks, like just what to look for. Like I love using strength finding assessments to really get a good picture of
Yeah.
what somebody is and how it complements things in your household. There's certain questions I like to ask in interviews that gets them to reveal things about themselves. Like, I've made content about this one, but one of my favorite questions to ask after I've asked a lot of the other questions is, how do you feel about tangled necklaces?
Love it.
And it's like there's people have a visceral response. Either they hate it or they love it. They're like, "Oh, let
Yeah.
me at it. I love puzzles." Or like, "I hate them." Like my husband would be like, "Get that away from me. I'm not gonna touch it."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Ooh, puzzles." And
Right.
so people who make good house managers love a puzzle. They love
Mm.
untangling necklaces. And so the way people respond to that question, and you don't ask, "Do you like it?" You just say,
Right.
"How do you feel
What
about it?"
yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
they're like, "Oh my gosh, I hate it when that happens to my necklace, but it's so satisfying whenever I get them untangled." Like, that kind of an answer reveals to you that they're persistent, they persevere, like, they see the obstacle and they see it through,
Love
and
that.
they're, like, also like, they understand the value in completing the task too, right? And so,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
kind of questions get them to reveal a lot about themselves, and so, I have different ways I work
Okay.
with people. Either I can take them through this kind of a process where it's like, here's how you can go about finding somebody in your area, over the shoulder help with like, this is what you
Mm.
post, this is okay,
Okay.
like there's an applicant, this is what I think about them kind of a thing. And so that's my done with you kind of a program. And then I also, for the people who are like, I just need, like, I've worked with some high level families that are like, okay, we have two different houses. I just need to find somebody. I don't want to go through this
Right.
process myself. I got to focus over here on the business. And so for that, I have a white glove recruitment service that I do where I do
Very
like
cool.
the complete end to end, find them a person or find them a couple candidates that they can do trials of.
Mhm.
And then through that process, I still take them through my coaching,
Okay.
like, just, like, teaching them how to be a good leader in a home environment,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you don't realize just, like, it's like another business. Your home
Right.
becomes like another business when you have team members like that, so you need to be really good at
Yeah.
communication, at leadership, at, like, managing expectations, at having clear checklists and stuff like
Yep.
that, like a point
Yep.
of communication, and so these are all things that we know make businesses successful, and if we treat our home like a business, it feels kinda like, "Ah, that's too structured." But
Right.
what we know is structure provides freedom, and so by having all that kind of stuff in place, it's you drop them in and they kinda train themselves when you have that kind of stuff in place. So,
That's
yeah,
so
so those are the
beautiful.
ways that I love helping people find house managers, but then, like you were saying, like, on my profile about the time hacking, that
Mhm.
part I love. I have a school community where I help people who, whether or not they need a house manager or not, it's like a lot of time hacking strategies that we talk about
Nice.
over there, delegation, just systems, a lot of scaling
Yeah.
systems for your home, for your business, and time hacking.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and
such a
that's
big need. I love
yeah,
it. Yeah, automation became a big thing for me just this year with going into it's year 3 for my private practice, but I'm still in year 1 of adding coaching, and so I'm just like, I know that is a need for me, but then it's so hard to separate, like, yeah, we also need delegation in our personal and our home life, as well as me professionally in the business, and they
yeah,
go hand in hand, and then when you when you finally get comfortable, like, either doing some form of automation or truly hiring someone on to delegate a task to them, then it's like, I get to be a better partner, I get to be a better
yes,
mom, I get to be a better friend, I'm more present when I am at the office because 'cause I'm not worried about, like, what I need to get done between therapy sessions, like, it just
mhm,
you are a more of a well-rounded, just better person to be around, I feel, and
yes.
I've noticed that since adding a VA on, like, it's just such a relief, like, I don't stress now when I have to look at my emails, and I know, like, that peace of mind is there because I know there's another set of eyes on things for me that I was previously just really stressing out about, so
Yeah.
it's huge.
And what's interesting, like, a lot of people will feel like, well, I need to get a VA in my business first or an
Yeah.
EA, and then I'll come back to the household. But
Yeah.
what I've learned in having my own VA is that the amount of training and implementation on all the tech side of everything on a
Mhm.
VA, it takes so much more of your time to
Yeah.
get them up and running and to get and then you have usually nowadays they're like, I do this many hours or this many hours. So then you feel
Yep.
like, okay, I gotta keep giving them stuff to do to make this worthwhile. The
Mhm.
cool thing about a house manager is they come in and they drop in. There's not all that setup that you have to do.
No.
You're
No.
like, "Welcome to my chaos, have at
Yep.
it." And they start making sense of it, and you don't have to do all this, like, training and setup and onboarding and this whole process. Like, it's so cool because the things that they're gonna do are adulting tasks,
Yeah.
and they're an adult, so they already know how to do these adulting tasks. They
Yeah.
might do them slightly different than you, and so maybe that's just, like, telling them preferences, and that's where I love having SOPs where it's like, this is how we like our laundry done. This is like the things that get put on the top shelf of the dishwasher, right? Like having all these templates available and those like my clients love those. They're like,
I
"Thank you." I'm
bet.
like, "Print these off and I call it good." And
Yeah.
so having that kind of stuff where it's like really but just about preferences, but there's not all that setup. And then the same thing, I love using Voxer with my clients, but I
Yes.
also use it
Yes.
with all of my household staff.
Okay,
So
that
that way,
makes
if I'm
sense.
in the car or I'm even
Yeah.
at my desk and I can just
Yep.
fire off a real quick thought like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot
Yes.
to tell you in the garage, you're gonna see this crazy fiasco happening, and here's
Yeah.
what my vision is for that situation. Please make it happen."
Mhm.
And then you
Yes.
just give them that information, they can go. Like, you don't need to,
Right.
like, put it in a clipped up board and do all these other
No.
extra pieces and then communicate and have a powwow and, like, all this extra stuff. You can move so much quicker, and then I feel like if you have that in place, you're gonna get your time back to be better at hiring your VA next. So it's like,
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say get the house manager first, then the VA, because
Okay.
you'll actually be able to use your VA better and onboard them better because you're not having to handle all that other stuff.
That makes
Um,
sense. Yeah.
if you
That
already have
makes
VAs in place, then you're like, "Okay, you're ready to rock and roll, like, go get a house
right.
manager."
Right. I love that. That just seems naturally like the next step. And I love what you said about earlier about like a lot of those big name people have these. And when I first asked you to come on and I was on your profile and I was looking at some of your recent posts and I saw the one from June with you. I think you were at like the live podcast recording with Lori Harder and Lindsay Schwartz. And I think it was, who was the third one?
Jen Gottlieb.
Yeah, Jen Gottlieb, yep, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's so ironic that she's in a picture with them." I bet all 3 of them have a house manager. I mean, like, my mind just naturally was like, "Huh,
Yes, yes,
interesting," because they probably do. They probably have to function and run their businesses and, it just
yeah.
makes complete
One of my
sense.
favorite things to do is if I go to an event that has speakers that they've brought their kids there, then I kinda scan and I'm like, "Where's their house manager? Where's their house
Yeah.
manager?" Because they travel with them, and then I
Okay.
go and I meet the house manager and I go talk to the house manager.
That's
And
awesome.
I
I
just love
love
hearing their
that.
perspective, and just being like, "Thank you for everything you do so that they can come and serve all of us, like, speak to us and coach us," and right? And so,
Yeah.
like, this little hidden person that yeah, so I love, like, going and finding their house manager in the crowd.
I love that because how often do they really get thanks, from
I know.
outsiders, I mean?
My
So,
gosh.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. So, let's talk about um, like, the mom guilt that a lot of moms, I feel, it naturally just surfaces when you feel like you maybe have some limiting beliefs that you feel like you need to do all the things, and if you're not doing all the things, you're failing as a mom. I could see a lot of my listeners carrying those limiting beliefs, even like I think about like our friend group here in the Midwest, and there's a few who have in-home cleaners. So, it's like that first step. But to take it a step further and get or have them bump up to being a house manager, there might be those limiting beliefs of like, but I can do it all. Like, I don't want people to think I can't do it all. And then it's like, but if I get it, I have to keep it a secret. And it's like, why though? Like, that mom guilt is so heavy there.
It
You want to like
is.
talk
It's
to
real.
that?
I've felt
Yeah.
it too. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm yeah, I have it was definitely a transition for me when we had our 5-hour-a-week house manager. I was like I was in my brain, like, fully like, not even fully committed to it. I'm like, "I'm just gonna try this out. I don't know. Well, it's just for the season, like, this is helping me out with the kids right now and the laundry. I
Yeah.
don't know if I really need this full time." Because in my brain, I felt like, "Well, I'm not fully giving away this stuff. I'm just
Right.
getting a little help right now," right? And so
Right.
and then once and it was funny because when I was first starting my business and I'm like, "I wanna start my business, but I don't know what my thing is." And
Mhm.
so I I have all this knowledge from being behind the scenes of my husband's companies,
Yep.
like, all these different things that I've done, but I'm like, I know some of my strengths, but I don't really know what my thing is. And so they tell
Interesting.
you, like, what's the thing that everyone just keeps asking you about? And
Yes.
when I would go to my R3 workouts and I would go to play dates with my kids and
Yep.
like little baby meetups and all this stuff. The
Yep.
thing that everybody wanted to know about was my house manager and the people I was hiring and like
Okay.
getting referrals and like, how does that work? What does it look like? How much do you pay
Okay.
them? How many hours? What do they do? Like these kind of conversations that we can now have on podcasts, right?
Yeah.
These are
Yeah.
the questions that everyone kept asking me. And it was like this thing that everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I need to talk to Brenda about her house manager. Like I need to
Yeah.
know about this." And I
Cool.
realized like is house manager my thing? Like I don't know if that's my thing, but it's like,
That's
well,
so
nobody else is
true.
talking about it and everyone keeps
Yeah.
asking me. So this is my opportunity to shout it from the rooftops and let people know like, yeah, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It really is hard because there's something about whenever you hire a person versus if it's a family member. But what's cool is I tell people it's like you think about it like before we're talking about the whole village mentality and you would share your home. So you are already exchanging something before.
Yeah.
You're exchanging lodging for the work.
Right.
And and like in return, then you're gonna help take care of them and feed them and do stuff, and then they stay there and they take care of your kids and they do your laundry, and this whole, like, exchange is happening.
Yeah.
Money is also just an exchange of energy.
Yep.
That's all it is. Like, we all agree to equal something, but
Right.
truly, it's just energy in this little tangible form that we
Yep.
exchange, and so we're exchanging our energy for somebody else's different type of energy. So, like,
Yeah.
if someone hires you for your profession and they're paying you because they see value in the energy you give them, and
Yep.
they trade you this money energy. And so the same thing in our house. It's like we think about, like, where are we already spending a different type of energy to
Mhm.
solve a problem, and it's actually costing us more in, like, our bandwidth, our happiness, our connection with
Mhm.
our spouse, like, connection with our kids, whatever that is, that
Yeah.
if we were able to, like, buy if there was, like, a magic thing that we could be like, "If whatever the price is, if I could just buy the most perfect marriage and the most perfect relationship with my kids and just buy my happiness, like, what's the price I wanna pay for that?" Like, we would be willing
Right.
to exchange that energy.
Yeah.
And so we just have to think about is, like, we're exchanging that energy to these people who are providing value in our home. If
Mhm.
our mother-in-law lived next door and she just popped in all the time, multiple times a week, and
Yep.
just helped with laundry, helped chop onions, watch the kids, go pick them up, do all these things, it would be no-brainer. You'd be like,
No.
"Yeah, that's amazing. I wish I had that. That'd be
Right.
wonderful." But
Right.
as soon as you bring in a quote unquote stranger into your house, it feels weird and you feel like you're not allowed to accept that help. And this is
Mhm.
where I was telling you, like, whenever even when I work with my white glove clients, I coach them how to receive because sometimes
Yeah.
they're so driven in their business and they're good at delegating in business, but they actually don't quite receive. Like, they're giving information, they're giving feedback, they're running a business, but they're not receiving. And so it's
Gosh.
teaching everybody how to go back to being able to receive.
Love
And
that.
so it's like, yeah, it's hard. It really is.
Yeah.
And like as a parent, I think like, what can I say and do for my kids to
Mm.
teach them early on how to
Mhm.
receive? Like, how can
Yeah.
I like not have to like I don't want them to have to be reprogrammed later. Like we all have to
Yeah.
be like, how can
Yeah.
I pre-program
Yes.
them, right? To like be able
Yep.
to accept this help. And the
Yeah.
answer is getting help in your house.
Mhm.
Because then it shows them that they're allowed to have that kind of help growing up,
Yeah.
which then so instead of turning into like entitled brats, no, they turn into collaborators who can
Mhm.
collaborate on teams and accept
Mhm.
help and give feedback. Like, my kids will tell the house manager, like, "Hey, like, can you not put this on my desk?" Or, "I like my socks folded this certain way." Like,
Mhm.
they give her feedback on their preferences.
Yep.
And when she does things that are super sweet and cute, like she'll leave them little notes, then they're
Yeah.
like, "That was so sweet. I love that." Right? So
Oh,
it's
I
like
love it.
the positive feedback and the constructive
Yeah.
criticism and, like, working together and collaborating, like, these are team building, team working skills that we
Yes.
all need as adults, and so how can we teach these to our kids? Like, we can't just tell them all the time, we actually have to give them opportunities to
Agreed.
use it, and so
Yeah.
what better way than bringing people into our house and letting them be coworkers with your kids?
Right. Right. Do
So,
you
yeah, it's like
also give your kids responsibilities that are not done? Like, what about for those moms who are like, "Well, I want my kids to know how to handle those responsibilities." Like,
yeah, we can
obviously, yeah, you can delegate to the kids too
yep.
so that they're
And we
doing it.
do I mean, there's, like, sometimes my house manager's on vacation. Like,
Right.
over the
Right.
holidays, she goes to visit her family just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, "Man, I could really use a lot of help over the holidays," but it's like, yeah, these are people, like, they wanna go visit their family too. So, we
Yeah.
all know every year over the holidays, like, we all are a team when it comes to
Right.
house management. And so,
Right.
we have a whole, like, separate checklist that we follow for
Mhm.
whenever we're divvying up all these tasks. And so, my son's in charge of picking up all the dog poop, and then
Love
my
it.
kids, each of them put away all of their laundry, and my daughter helps me actually do it in the loads, like the
Yeah.
machines, because she's old enough to use them. And so,
Yep.
yeah, it's like age appropriate tasks. And but then when my house manager is helping around the house, they're not completely relieved of the rest of the
No.
responsibilities. They're actually doing them alongside her.
That's
And
what I
so
was
when
thinking.
she's putting away the clothes, they're
Right.
in the room as if it was me doing it. Where it's like, okay, open that drawer. Here you go. Now put that one in there. Okay. Oh no, fix it that way, right? And so
Love it.
we think as parents, we're the only ones who can teach our kids or, like, the teachers at school. But how much are they learning every time they go to grandparents' house, every time they're around other
Yes.
family members? And so what's cool is when you bring these really aligned people into your home, they're also teaching your kids. And a lot
Mhm.
of times, your kids listen to them better than they
Yes.
listen to you.
I agree.
If I tell my 10-year-old son, "Hey, buddy, let's organize your room today," and he's like, "Oh," but when the house manager is here and he's not at camp or school or anything, he's home,
Yep.
then he is like, "Can we organize my room?"
Oh,
Like, that's his
let's
favorite
yeah.
thing to do with her, and they, like, go
Yeah.
through all his crazy electronics and batteries and stuff, and, like,
I love it.
Yeah, his weird inventions, and they categorize them and they label them and they go through this whole process together.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's
I
and
love that.
I've worked with families where they have teenagers and they say, "I don't want my teenagers I don't want my house manager to do any of the jobs that I want my teenagers to do." Like, she
Oh,
doesn't touch
sure.
their rooms, right? And so
Yeah, yeah.
when they're teeny tiny, it's kinda nice because then the house manager can teach them. But then once they're, like, to a certain age, you're like, "Okay, they know how to do it." So I want
Yeah.
them to practice being good at it so that they're set as an adult. And so one of the families I work with, she was like, "No, the house manager doesn't do my teenagers' rooms. She works for me.
Yep.
She does
Yep.
my stuff and my husband's stuff.
Nice.
If my kids want her to do their stuff, they have to pay her." And one of her daughters
Awesome.
actually worked at a smoothie shop where she was getting, I don't know, whatever the rate per hour, like $15 an
Yep.
hour, $12 an
Yep.
hour, whatever it was, minimum wage that in her state, that the time that she saved, like, by paying the house manager just to do her piece of the room, it was like 30 minutes, right? So then she would pay for, like, that 30 minutes, and then it
Love
bought
it.
her back another shift to go make more money at the
Nice.
smoothie shop. So she saw the value in, like, "Oh, wait, if I pay the house manager, like, 10 bucks or whatever, like, half an hour worth of work, I can actually go do a whole shift
Yeah.
and make this other rate." And so she saw the value in handing something off. And so one of the teenagers actually did pay out of her own money to have the house manager do her stuff in her room.
I
And
love
so that
it.
was the agreement that they had. And that's what I
Yep.
think is so cool about this is, like, every family can determine what meets their values, like what is in alignment with them. Like, you don't have to feel like, "But I like cooking. It's my creative outlet. I don't want to give it away." Well, then don't give it away. Like,
Right.
give away the stuff you hate doing. Like,
Yes.
whatever tasks that you're like, this thing is back again."
Yep.
Give that away, and the stuff you look forward to doing, keep it. Like, I love doing my gardening, and so I have a landscaper that, like, gets rid of weeds and just, like, does the regular stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, I wanna, like, prune my roses and, like, do the
Yes.
little gardening parts," right? Like,
Yes.
plant little seeds, like,
Yeah, because it
I
feels
keep
good
the
to get
part
in
I
the
like.
dirt. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
mhm,
Like, that's
absolutely.
self-care for me, and so there's a
Yeah,
lot of things that we can do around our home that by taking care of our environment, it nurtures us back.
yeah,
Watering my plants, I do not have anybody water my plants for me because every Saturday morning when I wake up and make my tea and I go around my house watering all my plants, I feel like I'm taking care of myself when I do that.
yes,
So
yeah,
and that's part of the process, like,
mhm,
anytime you hire anybody in your business or at home, before you even post an ad of what they're gonna do, sit down and figure out what those things are that you wanna keep, and then figure out the things that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I will happily hand this off," like, this is the
yes,
bane of my existence.
a
And,
great
like,
tip.
cooking, right? Like, maybe you love
Yeah,
cooking, but then all the, like, chopping onions and smashing garlic part is the annoying
mhm,
part, so if that
yep,
was prepped, then you would actually enjoy the cooking part more, so it's like you can give a piece of it away and then keep the part you
yes.
like.
Oh my gosh, that's such great tips, and one little thing that you said that is just, like, keeps coming back to me, kind of on a sidebar. I love how you mentioned how you found your niche because I just feel like this isn't talked about a lot, but it was the same experience for me. You think about, like, in the beginning, when I first started my coaching business, that was the exact question, was like, "Well, what are people coming to me for? Or what are people
Yeah.
constantly bringing up around me?" So I love that you bring that up because if there's naturally just a lot of entrepreneurs that I find listen to this podcast, and it's so true. It didn't realize it until that question was given to me by my business coach, but it's like I started noticing what people were constantly asking me about or bringing up around me, and it was always mindset related or
Mhm.
manifestation related. It was like in the professional networking setting, they were
Yeah.
always asking me about my mindset and like, "How do you keep such a great mindset?" And then in my personal relationships, it was always like, "Oh, what are you learning about manifestation? Like, I want to hear more
Yeah.
about that woo-woo stuff, you know?" And so I just like
Yeah.
combined the 2, and that's
Yeah.
so true. Like
Yes.
anybody
And
who's
that's
like
the
in the
thing is, like,
beginning.
you unlocked, like, a secret formula to combine 2 things. Because some people feel
Yes,
like,
yeah,
"Well, am I this or this?" And so,
right,
like, for me, right, like, now the more I work with my clients, I'm, like, becoming known as house manager person, but
yeah,
truly, when people to go through my program, what they're getting is time hacking. And so, they're like, "You need to, like, make that more apparent that that's what you're actually doing." And I'm like, "You're right, I do." Because it's like
yeah,
you come for this, but you actually get this other thing, right? But then, like,
right,
sometimes people, they need the other thing. You gotta tell them that's what you also
yes,
do. And so having your, like, you know, niche described, you're like, there was one of my buddies, he helps people start their podcast, but he used to be a professional soccer player and he never talks about soccer. And I'm like, dude, that makes you stand out in the world of
yeah,
podcasting. Like, you're like
yeah,
a soccer podcaster. That's it. Like, all everything. There's so many puns you can use.
right,
And so,
right.
but
I love
but it,
that.
you know what's interesting? I bet when you were thinking about this also, where you're like, well, what's the thing that everybody always asks me about? we play it down. We're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's not that big of a deal, like, that's easy." 'Cause,
Mhm.
that's so easy, like, it
Right.
needs to be harder, right? And because it's easy for us,
Yep.
and it's not easy for someone else, which is
Yep.
exactly why we can teach somebody that and lead them in that way. And so the
Yes.
same thing, like, I just felt like every time people were asking me about hiring help and house managers and just, like, how to hire people in general, just team building, like, I've hired, I don't know, by now, like, just in our house, over 150 different people for different roles with, like, construction
Amazing.
projects and,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, you go like, every
Yes.
little time you're like, "Okay, like, here's this thing that's happening now, and okay, like,
Right. Right.
let's find this person to do this job," and then even, like, house manager, babysitters, like, the amount of babysitters that we've used
Yeah.
over the years because they're
Yep.
in high school or college, and then they move away, and then you find a
Right.
new one, and a new one, and a new one, and you start to get your formulas down for this stuff, and so, this was something that I felt like, "Yeah, but, like, everyone does this. This is not that unique. Like, everybody knows how to hire a babysitter, how to hire a house manager, how to, like,
Yep.
hand stuff off in your house. Like, that's, like,
Yep.
not that big of a deal." But then you realize, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal for you, Brenda, because
Yeah.
you kinda
Yeah.
nerd out on this."
Yep, and like you said earlier, to find somebody that's truly aligned with your family. Like you
Mhm.
I wanna look at these people like it's that third arm that I always had, but I didn't know I had, like, they're just a part of us, and that's a skill that, yeah, not everybody even knows how to tap into, so
Yeah,
I
and,
think
like,
that's
having
huge.
it's like I tell my house manager how it's like, I truly genuinely look forward to the days that she's here.
I
I
would too.
feel like the energy of my house is just even better when
Yeah.
she's here, and, like,
Yeah.
I love, like, if she goes on a trip, I go on a trip, and, like, we
Yeah.
share with each other and talk to each other about it, like,
Yep.
and so it's like
'Cause
like I
you
joke, it's like
probably
the wife for the wife, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and honestly, the days that she's there or he like, it's probably a day that you truly feel like that next level version of yourself, like, "Damn, look at me with my fancy house manager, and I'm just killing it over here in the
yeah.
entrepreneurial world," like, that's
Or
how
just
I
a
would
feeling of
feel.
support, right? Like, you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
unstoppable when you feel supported.
Yep,
And so,
yep,
whether or not you feel like, "I made it, I have a house manager," or
yeah.
I just feel like, "Somebody's taking care of me today,
Yes,
and
okay.
I feel loved, therefore, I can go out and serve other people on an even
Yep,
higher level." Like, to
yep.
me, that's like, I just feel so nurtured. When my chef
Mhm.
comes, it's like that Monday night meal that's fresh and it's, like, still hot. She, she comes on Monday, and Monday night we eat 1 meal fresh, the other 2 she makes 2 other meals that then have leftovers for the week, but, like, those other meals are, like, prepped in, like, the Instant Pot, so then I
Right,
put it in Instant Pot, press the button, go. And whatever it is, or it's like a thing you go and put in the oven, you bake it, and so, but that Monday night meal, like, I look forward to Monday nights because I feel loved. I feel so
yeah,
incredibly loved, and
yeah,
it feels like I'm eating at a restaurant in my own house because 'cause they're recipes I
I
wouldn't even
bet.
eat. I give
Yeah,
her the
I bet.
Joanna Gaines cookbooks, and I'm like, "Have at 'em. Work your way
Yeah,
through this whole cookbook for me." Like, every time
okay.
I look at the magazine, I'm like, "Ooh, I wanna try that. Ooh, I wanna try that," and then I, like,
Yeah,
"What is this fantasy version of me that's gonna have time to try all these?" So
yep,
I let Renee go through the cookbook and,
I
like,
love it.
work our way through it and figure out thumbs up, thumbs down, put it on the
Mhm.
favorites list, okay, it was good, but not again.
That's amazing. I love that. And I want to talk about another topic that I just feel like naturally goes hand in hand with everything we've been talking about. And this probably is something that totally resonates with listeners. And it's just probably a part of your lifestyle. But can you speak to the whole like anti hustle culture? Because I preach it all the time. I put it in my posts all the time. I feel like it's one thing to preach it, but to actually embody it. And I think that's what your business helps entrepreneurs to do is to truly embody that anti-hustle and to work rest time and downtime and present family time into their calendar. But
Yes.
can you speak to that a little bit? I know that's got to be just like huge for
Yeah,
you.
and this is also, it's been a evolution of myself too, because
Mhm.
the whole reason I even brought these people in was so that I could have more quality time with my family. And so when I'm with my family and when I'm with my spouse, I am like, we're going to have fun now because we don't have all these other responsibilities weighing on our
Yeah.
shoulder. Like, the bandwidth bleed has been removed of, like, constantly think about all these other things.
Yeah.
Um, but what I had found is that since I felt like, okay, I bought my time back in my business, I have to be as productive as possible.
Yeah.
Because, okay, cool, now I don't have to do laundry, but I have to make sure I'm making use of every single minute to make sure
Mm,
that I'm, like, making this worthwhile, right? And so the evolution I've gone through now with my business is realizing, like, no, like, that doesn't move your business forward as much as you think it does. Like, you just feel like some days you're like, "I just can't muster the energy to crank out all this copy for my website or, like, record
right.
content today," or whatever the thing is. And
Right.
so you're like, "Well, I have this person here, I'm paying them to do my laundry so that I could do this stuff, so I should be doing it. No, you have a person there to support you no matter what you choose to do with the time that you have back. So if you wanna go take a nap, go take a nap, because
Yes.
that's gonna make you your highest self. If
Yeah.
you need to just go for a drive and listen to a podcast to get
Yeah.
inspiration, because from inspiration, you then can, like, create more
Create.
from that,
Yeah.
go do that. And so
Yep.
there's not like a rule that all of a sudden, and the same with employees, right? Where you feel like, well, now I'm delegating to this employee, so I can't be a lazy boss. They can't see me like not doing anything now. Like that's
Yeah.
something that we also experience. Like my husband as he was building his company, where it's like, I can't let my employees see me sitting around doing nothing because I
Right.
don't want them to sit around and do nothing. And it's like,
Sure.
what is sitting around doing nothing equal? Right? It's like,
Right. Right.
are they like just doing, are they not getting their work done because they're distracted by all these other things?
Right.
Or, like, are they having intentional downtime so that they can
Mhm.
pace themselves? Because one's good, one's bad. And the same thing, like, as a boss, when we hire people, like, it's okay for us to have intentional downtime. And
Yes.
and so one of the, like, coaching parts that I take my clients through, whether I do find the house manager for them or I'm helping them to find it, before we even post the ad, I take them a step backwards to figure out what are those family values and what are your
Sure.
goals. But also, I make them do a funny kind of thing, and I call it the do nothing list. And I'm like, what are those things that you always tell your fantasy self that you're like, I want to learn cross stitch someday? Like, I just want to
Yeah.
sit in a rocking chair, watching hummingbirds at my hummingbird feeder, doing a cross
Yep.
stitch, listening to music, or I just want to have an hour long conversation with my dad just to check in,
Yeah.
or I want to go pick up dancing lessons again. Like I used to do that in college and I want to get back to it. Like,
Yes.
what are all
Yeah.
those feminine energy exploration things
Yep.
that can balance our masculine energy of go, go, go with our business that is so necessary for our productivity? Like,
Mhm.
we are better people when we have that balance. But we
Yeah.
feel like if we're not checking something off a list, then it's not valuable. And so, what I have them do is I make a do nothing list that they have to check things off of. It's a checklist, and they have to check things off of it once they get more time back. So great, now you
Mm.
have this person that's doing all these things, and it's like I tell people, you get somebody for like 10 or 15 hours a week, it feels like you got
Right.
40 hours back. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
the math doesn't translate. It's magic.
I believe it.
And so you get all this time back. Well, okay, so like maybe 15 hours of it now you go and be more productive, but then the other 15 hours go do fun stuff.
Yep.
Like go
Yep.
live, go be
Yes.
your future self right now.
Right.
Make phone calls, like, go to coffee
Yeah.
with a friend, like, fill your cup. So, that I
Mhm.
think is a really hard thing that people struggle with. They feel like if you buy back your time, you need to spend on your business.
Right.
Yes, and also spend it on yourself. You need both.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
feel like
necessary.
that's how I could easily, like, convince my husband is, like well, you jokingly say you wanna go fishing every weekend. Well, you could actually get to do that and not have to just pick 1 weekend a month. Like, you could actually go every weekend potentially, and he also when you were talking about, like, things you used to do to have that creativity, my husband was a ballroom dancer for 11 years before we met, and so when we first met, we were doing that, like, every Friday night in the garage. That was just something we would do for fun, right? Like, turn on that 90s country, and we would just do, like, the waltz and all the things, and
Yeah,
we but since getting
I'm with
married,
you on
like,
the '90s
we
country.
yeah, yeah, but then we got married, and it just hasn't happened, like, we just don't prioritize those dance nights anymore, and I'm always telling him, like, "Gosh, I really miss dancing with you, and, like, how can we get back to that?" And he's like, "Well, we can't for the next 18 years because now we have a kid," and it's like, as a new mom, I am just like, "That sounds really stupid." Like,
Yes.
do you really believe that? Like,
Yeah.
no, you know?
And you gotta do it for your kid. Like, you
Yes,
gotta show your kid that's how their parents showed their love for each other and how
I
they had fun
agree.
together, and then you
Yeah.
dance and you hold your kid and you do it together, but it's really it's not our kids that prevent us from doing the thing, it's
No.
all the responsibilities tied to having the kids that we feel like,
Yeah.
"Well, like, I gotta do their laundry, I gotta feed them, I gotta do all these other things." So it's not like the
Mhm.
kid itself that's preventing it, but it's, like, all the other responsibilities to take care of them and make sure that they're
Mhm.
content, that
Yep.
then we give up our own contentment, but it's like by our kids seeing us content, they get contentment. Like, they can rewear the same clothes over and over and be really
Yes.
happy about it or go naked
Yes.
like my kids.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
if they were naked every day, they would be way happier than clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, when they run out of laundry, they're pretty happy about it.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, so, like, them seeing their parents lit up and happy about stuff,
Yeah.
like,
It's
that's the ultimate reason to do it.
yes, it is. I totally agree with you. You're speaking right to me, like, as you're talking, I'm like, "I'm gonna make this happen. This is gonna be amazing for us." I'm just, like,
Yeah.
all hyped, Brenda. You're just talking to my soul today. I love this. I didn't know
And you
how
know what?
badly I
Just do it
needed you.
just like when I started, right? I'm like, "This is
Yeah.
just for this season." Well, like, you're like, "Just try it for a season." And even when I tell people when you hire people, always do a trial anyways.
Yeah.
Never commit to the
Yes.
person until they're in your house for at least 2 weeks. 2
Right.
weeks to a month. Like, do a trial
Yep.
because even if they're the most amazing person, you're like, "I would be friends with this person in real life." They may not actually, like, close loops the way you need them to. They might open loops and, like, they're kinda, like, with you in the dreamer phase and not actually, like, implementing the things, and so you're
Yeah.
like, "Cool, I like this person, but they're just not the loop closer that I need for this role." And
Right.
so they'll make a great babysitter. They'll make a different
Yes.
role, like, they'll be good at these
Yes.
other things that I can help they can help me out with other ways. Yeah,
Right.
and so I always tell everybody, "Do a trial. Do a trial," and you tell them up front, like, "Hey, I'm doing trials of different candidates, so we're just gonna do
Yep.
2 weeks, or we're gonna do a month," or whatever it is. But you could just tell yourself the same thing, like, you're like, "I'm just gonna do this for, like, the next 3 months or the next
Yep.
6 months, and
Yep.
then I'm gonna revisit it," and you tell the person up front, like, "I'm just gonna do this for the next 6 months. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it after that. We'll see." Because that's a way that then you can also figure out your budget. You're like, "Can I make this work for the next 6 months?" Like,
Yeah.
I have somebody for 5 hours a week for, like, the next 3 months or 6 months. Like, how much does that cost? And can I go and sell something in my
Yes.
business that would pay for
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
And be like, "All right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna see if it works." And
Yep.
it's like a great way to kind of baby step your way into it.
I love it. Okay. Wow. I'm convinced. I don't know. Like, I feel like I could talk to you for hours. And then I'm
I
also
know.
thinking, like, how are listeners not convinced this is the way to go? Because I'm convinced. I just need to bring you in with my husband and be like, listen, Brenda's got a pitch. Listen.
It is an evolution though. Like, you go through a
Yeah.
process and you become a different person in the process because
Yeah.
just like when you go from not having kids to having kids,
Yep.
like a major self-development journey
My
because it
God,
helps
you
you
are
reparent
right.
yourself in the process. Well, you
Yes.
go through a similar journey whenever you start hiring people,
Okay.
especially in your home. It
Okay.
starts to make you see the way your parents treated people and how you wanna do it the same or different, but
Yeah.
also, like, other jobs you've had. And you
Yep.
start taking in, like, what your bosses did and realizing, like, "Oh, I get it now." Like, I
Yeah.
actually didn't really like that boss, but I respect them more now. And so the same
Hmm.
thing, like, becoming a parent makes you respect your own parents and see it through a different light. Same thing, like,
Yeah.
it is such a cool journey to go through to reflect back on all the things that you've done in your life that you've been an employee,
Yeah.
realize, like, "I get it now." I, like, see the perspective or, like, you're like, "Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That was backwards. I'm gonna do it this other way." Right? Like, you
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
thing as parenting. Like, you just take stuff you've learned along the way, and you get to use it in this new way, and that's, like, a whole 'nother journey that your
Yeah.
brain gets to go through. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's ultimately why I wanted to bring you on is because in my mind, I think bringing a house manager in means I'm showing up as that next level version of myself. I just know the ROI is going to be worth it. It's going to be huge. Like you're giving me time back, which means you're giving me money back. Yeah, that's just so valuable, I feel, especially in these like first 5 years of getting the business off the ground. Like both time and money are just so valuable, I feel. I mean, it's the energy you give to it, and I get that. But I just think I feel like it's worth what you have to pay.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
and it's cool because then you get to have, like, in your marriage too, like, you get to
Yes.
have conversations that are truly just about connection instead of who
Hmm.
does what.
Yep. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
And usually there'll be, like, one person that kinda just becomes, like, the house manager's boss, and then the other
Yep.
person like, right? And so for in our house, I'm the, like, house manager boss, and then
Of
my husband
course.
will be like, "Hey, can you tell her to do this? Can you tell her to do
Yep.
that?" And I'm like, "You can send her a Voxer also, you're also on the team." And he's like, "I know, but, like, she's, like, your person." And so, it's like he sees me in an elevated light,
Yeah.
instead of before
Yes.
where I'm, like, nagging him to pick up his shoes, and he's like, "I don't have time for
Yeah.
that," and, like, this back and forth of, like, neither one of us is elevated. But then as soon as now there's this other person that you get to collaborate with on these
Hmm.
activity like, all these projects, like,
Yeah.
me reorganizing the garage, instead of me having to tell my husband, "Hey, I think that we should do this and move these bins over here," and him being like, "That's a terrible idea," and I'm like, "I'm doing
Yeah.
it anyways." I
Yeah.
now just go to her and I'm like, "Here's my vision, can you make it happen?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he's
That's
just like, "Oh,
perfect.
this looks great in here."
You're just giving me more reasons why I can make a case to my husband, like, "I won't be nagging you anymore." That would be like a dream come true for some men. I'm not that much of a nagger, but, like, that would be a dream come true for so many men, I imagine. So, Brenda,
Yeah.
you have just built such an amazing case for why everybody needs a house manager, like, the time hacking and all the little tips you threw in today is I mean, I didn't even have to really look at my questions because you hit everyone that I wanted to bring up. So thank you so much. Before we wrap things up, is there anything like coming down the pipe for you business wise or you and your husband business wise? Like obviously you are open to new clients, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think,
Okay.
the easiest way for people to start, like, getting the drip on all this kinda information is my school community. It's, like, the most super accessible way. I do a weekly drop-in call where everybody can just ask me questions on time hacking strategies or business scaling strategies or house managers, whatever it is, and it
Okay.
has all my templates and stuff in there too, so that's, like, the easiest way. So but if somebody's
Love
like,
it.
"Okay, that's it. I need a house manager. I need your help," I do a done with you service with them also. That
Okay.
is like a one-on-one service where it's like, "Yeah, let's get you everything that you need," and, I tell them exactly what to post in the ad and what questions to ask in the interviews and all the feedback and stuff like that. So,
Awesome.
I love doing that because it empowers them.
Yeah,
It's so cool to see them empowered in that role.
I bet.
But yeah, but, like, the easiest way for people to just start kinda, like, mulling over it is just
Mhm.
hop in my school community. It's called Tenfold Your Life, and, since it's, not just for moms and it's not just
Yep.
about house managers, but just balance, business and life balance.
Yeah, absolutely. When you do those one-on-one services, is it primarily with one spouse or the other, or do you bring both in, or is it a
They can
mix
both
of
join.
both?
I've had both.
Yeah.
I've had it happen.
Okay.
I've had it where I worked with somebody and then their husband would just kinda, like, pop in and be like, "These are my 3 requirements, and that's all I have to say. Like, just do this." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And they seriously, like, they're, like, sideways head popping in. And
Yeah,
then I've
yeah.
had other ones where both of them showed up to every single call to go through the process together, and that was
Nice.
actually fun to see how they work together, because then from
Yeah.
there, I can kinda, like, say, "Hey, like, I see the way you guys do things. Like, this is your strength, this is your spouse's strength, so make sure that as you go, like, he's in charge of editing the SOPs, and he's in charge of, like, digitizing all this process kinda stuff."
Yeah.
It's like, use you guys as strengths, yeah, so it's been fun. But yeah, either way, I've had people, like, have their kids on there too because their kids, like,
Nice.
help. I take them through, like, a card deck where they figure out what jobs Mary Poppins, I call it, like,
Yeah.
let's figure out what Mary Poppins is gonna do in your house, and so their kids are on the call too, sorting those cards to delegate different tasks, so yeah, it's a
Nice.
whole family affair.
Nice. I love it. I'm so excited to run with this. I like to end all my collabs with some rapid fire questions if you're open to that.
Totally.
All right. So are you more of a morning productive person or evening productive person?
Morning by far.
We are opposites in that way. Okay. That's
I grew
fine.
up
That's fine.
growing up on a cattle ranch, I don't think I could
Yeah.
ever, like, you
Yeah.
gotta be up and feed animals, and you're, like,
Yeah.
up with the sunrise. Yeah, I don't think but I just love it too, like, as a mother, that's my quiet time to myself
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
wake up before everybody else in the house, and that's when
Yep,
I
that's fair.
journal. I go sit outside and drink my tea. It's my me
Yep.
time.
I love that. Yeah. What is your favorite time saving hack right now?
Ooh, okay, so we are in transition from summer schedule into school schedule.
Oh,
Something I
that's
use
crazy. Yeah.
in Arizona, we go back August 1st. Something that
Okay.
I use for all seasons, but especially during transition times, is alarms on my
Mm.
phone,
Yeah.
and I'll pick, like, fun songs, like,
Mm.
songs from the Disneyland parks, and different songs at different times mean certain things to my kids, and so, like, in the morning, when they're getting ready for camp, there's a song that just, like, goes off automatically on my phone that everyone can hear in the house, and that means it's time to load up your bags and fill your water bottles. And
I
then in
love
the evening, the
that.
same thing, there's a song that goes off, like a little alarm that plays. I always pick, like, fun songs because it doesn't feel so,
Yeah.
like, abrupt, and so it's like whatever songs your family's into, like, go download the
Yep.
album and just make them into all your ringtone alarms.
Yeah.
And so, like, in the evening, same thing. Whenever it's time for everyone to turn off screens and start winding down, there's an alarm for that, and so when that
Yep.
alarm goes off, everybody turns off alarms. So, yeah, so it's, like, keeping the structure without me being the one to be like, "Time for this, time for that, time for that," right? Like,
Yes.
the alarms do the transition
Yes.
for me, but that keeps us, like, it keeps our schedule so much
Yeah.
more successful when we do that.
Yeah. Genius. I love that. And I like how it takes the power away from you. It's not you needing to like
Yeah.
remind them, prompt them, like,
Yeah. All my
yeah,
systems are all about, like, how can I not be the person in charge of this all the time?
yeah, totally. That's worth it. What is one task you always outsource without any guilt? I mean, you kind of
Mm.
already answered this in the interview, I feel, but
Laundry for me is the bane of my existence. I call them
okay.
laundry basket graveyards. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you put it in the washer. Like, a lot of people when they work from home, right, then you're, like, in between these calls, you're popping up to go switch it over. Like, that's a
Yeah.
bandwidth need right there. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so it's like most people can put it in the wash, usually remember to switch it over to the dryer before it gets weird
Mm.
smelling, and then it just goes in a laundry basket and it stays in laundry baskets. And where do those laundry baskets usually go? In your master bedroom,
Yep.
a place that's supposed to recharge you and make you feel
Right.
rested. Instead, you're feeling confronted and you feel like a failure in your house.
Yeah, and it's cluttered and
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yep,
it's like agitation. You walk into your room at night and you wanna relax and you're like, "Ah, the
you
laundry."
can't.
So,
Yeah,
laundry basket graveyard, that's the number one thing that I give away
yeah,
first. Yeah.
yeah, that's genius. What is or what makes you feel most like your next level self?
Ooh, I think connection to other people is for me, like,
Yes,
going to events.
yep,
Like, being on podcasts is such self-care for me. My own podcast has become my self-care.
I
Because
agree,
'cause you get to have
yes,
an hour-long conversation on going
yeah,
deep. It's not just, like,
yeah,
surface level chit chat, right? Like, you get to
yep,
go deep for an hour with somebody
yeah,
that cares about making the world a better place.
yep.
So,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
so healing on so many levels, like, I can't imagine ever not doing it now that I've been doing it for 2 years,
yeah.
it's like, I can't go back because it's so healing on so many levels,
And, like,
yeah.
today, like, I will say today, I was, like, drained because it's been one of those weeks where it's end of
I
summer.
feel ya,
Everyone's
yeah,
trying to cram everything in, and I am like,
yes,
"You know what? Later, I'm relaxing by the pool. We have friends coming over, and we're all just
good,
gonna relax by the pool." But I am, like, so dang tired, but I'm like,
same,
"This podcast is gonna just energize me for the rest of the day."
totally.
Connection always does.
I agree. Yeah, you really did. I was draining before getting on here too, and I was like, "Okay, don't make it obvious how tired you are."
I
Like,
know, I'm not even gonna do my hair. It's just going,
no.
like, headband and ponytail. We'll just
Yeah,
throw big earrings on and call it good.
I get it. I was like, "She's getting my workout attire. It's fine. This is real mom life." Like, sometimes
Yep,
you just
I
don't
know.
put real
But that's
clothes
where
on.
one of my favorite things to do just in regular life, I call it FaceTime bombing.
Mm,
Like, if I'm sitting and I'm just kinda feeling like, I need to go hang out with a friend, I need to go to lunch, I need to go do something, then I'm like, "Wait,
yeah.
who can I call right now in this moment?"
Yes.
And I don't even give them warning, I just FaceTime them, and
Yep.
I'm like, "We'll see if they pick up." And so now people have come to expect that Brenda FaceTime bombs them, and they're like sometimes they text me back, "Hold on, I'm in the bathroom, I can't do video."
Oh, I love it. I love that. Oh,
But yeah, that
yeah.
kinda connection, right? Like, as
Yes.
moms, like, anytime you just think about, like, somebody that you're like, "Oh, I haven't talked to them in a while," FaceTime bomb them. It'll, like,
I
fill
love
both your
that.
cups.
Yeah, it totally will, you're right. Brenda, it was such a pleasure bringing you on here. I've been so good about responding to these nudges when they come to me, and I'm just so glad I did because my soul needed this today, and it's such a bummer that I probably won't be seeing you at Powerhouse because
I
after
know.
having this, I'm like, "Why am I not in a room with Brenda more often?" I don't care that we live states away, I like your energy is just so your enthusiasm, like, I want to be around that more, so thank you for coming on, I really
Thanks.
appreciate it. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely
thanks
be
so
reaching
much.
out to you.
I'm so glad you reached out. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yay, I would love to," like, and it's just so fun, like, because it's been almost a year and just getting to
Yes.
reconnect, and just
Yep.
have conversations like this, like, what a
Agreed.
cool world we live in. You're in Iowa, I'm
Yeah.
in Arizona. We get to
I
hang out for
know.
an hour right now and, like, just
Yep.
talk about cool stuff.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Well, you guys, if any of this resonated with you, you have questions, you can DM me, you can DM Brenda. But more than anything, just share the episode. Let me know what specifically about it resonates with you. Tag us in your stories if you do share it. I just really appreciate all the shares, all the feedback. I have not done a shout out in a while, but you guys, the feedback has just been pouring in, and I'm just beyond grateful, you guys. I always just feel like if it touches one person's soul, then that's enough for me, but it's been touching like a lot. So I'm just so grateful for all of you listeners. And thanks again, Brenda, for coming on. You guys have a great rest of your week.